People all over the world, including me, do not know much about Africa. We believe that this continent is exactly the same as the one they show us on different TV shows, on different movies, on the newspapers, or even on the books we are able to read. This forgotten continent is the second largest continent in the world. And I believe that most of us didn't know that one of the 7 wonders of the world is located here, or that the second largest freshwater river is also in this continent, or that the longest river, or that the largest and hottest desert is in this place. Or did you even know that 18 people from Africa have been awarded with a Nobel Prize? I believe we don't know much good things about Africa. We only stay with the bad part of Africa. With this video, we want to show you what they show us on the media or what people tell us is not completely true, and that Africa has much more things to offer us.
For most of the people, when we hear about Africa, the first thing that comes into our minds is poor black people. We think about wars, diseases, hunger, analphabetism, and different religions, weird traditions, but most of all, we think about people who live in the desert in very poor houses made of cheap materials. This is what happens when we only think about this part of the iceberg, the top. But why? The press is the one of the guilt. They have created this wrong ideal of Africa, that when we watch the news, we only hear about kids dying of hunger, or misery increasing day by day. The first thing that comes up when we Google about Somali are pictures like this, of misery, violence, or when we Google about Ghana, we see crowded streets where there are probably many diseases and no conditions for a well living. But this is why we don't have to take the truth as what the press says. We have to think further.
However, to understand a culture, we have to take a further look at the culture. By taking a further look at the culture, I mean taking a look at the deep culture, the one that is in the bottom of the iceberg. In Africa, everything has a meaning, so the pitch you use while talking has different meanings. For them, oral traditions are very important. This is the way they communicate and transmit to other generations their beliefs and cultural values. In art, everything has a meaning too, so every color is something different they want to transmit, and that's the reason why their artworks are so colorful. Africans also have different perceptions about things. For example, in beauty, for them, a full body means prosperity and fertility. On the other hand, a skinny body means diseases such as AIDS and poverty. They also have rituals such as these ones that represent beauty in their society. They have several cultural values, and they are all based on respect. They love to create relationships, but they enjoy their personal space and silence. This can all be summed up in positive communication, which is the base of the values in Africa.
In conclusion, we need to take care to focus our learning opportunities on the less visible aspects if it is to be genuinely meaningful. Many of the times, we focus our attention in the visible and obvious cultural aspects, which are often essential to learn about a culture. But there are also many cultural aspects of a community which may not be so visible and are just as important. As it happened in this case, many people will listen and focus their attention on what the media show us about the African children and the extreme conditions they are passing through with wars, penury, poverty, diseases, analphabetism, and people who live in extreme conditions. But there is also another face that the media doesn't show us, and we will never know that if we don't see what is besides that. Judging by what we see is easy, but learning that there are always things hiding below the surface will make us change our mentality and will make us judge by what is really happening. Here we have an image of what is really happening in Africa. This is the 10% of what the media show us, and this is the 90% left over. And it really shows us what is really happening in Africa. So if we really want to know about a culture, we need to focus our attention on all the aspects of the iceberg and all the aspects of the culture, and not only on the visible aspects.